I'm going to do the first of what's probably going to be a series of rambling talks about the whole alien invasion genre. And today I'm going to start with 1983's V and 2016's Colony. So let me find a good rock to sit down and let's get to it. Okay, so starting with V, that classic 80s tale of space fascists showing up, proclaiming to be our friends, and well, wouldn't you know it, they're lizard people here to steal our planet. And most people fall for it. The visitor's true intentions are uncovered by an investigative journalist who is so determined to uncover the truth at any cost that he almost gets himself killed crawling around ventilation ducts in a flying saucer, recording slee stacks swallowing rats with his 20-pound Beta SP camera. V has a very 1940s France take on this, where you have this smartly uniformed riding boot wearing force that comes in, takes over. They even have, in this case, a sort of swastika. This Nazi echo, essentially, is still a lot of people's reference point for what they expect tyranny to look like, even though it was outdated even in 1983 when this was made. V's spiritual successor, I would argue, is 2016's Colony, which was a little bit ahead of its time in that it gives a very 2020s take on a lot of these questions. In both cases, these invaders just lack the manpower to do all of the oppressing on their own. In V, they have to rely on the local police and military to supplement them. Now, trying to use Officer Friendly to oppress his neighbors tends to result in reliable help like this.
What's the story back there?
No story. It's okay.
All right, let's move it out then, Pedro.
Of course, we also have to note that
He wants to break the law, he's got to take the consequences.
Come on, man, this is different.
No, it ain't. A crook's a crook. Ain't nothing changed except the guys who give the orders.
What you gonna do when they come for you?
He sings the same stupid song every single day.
it's not the wanton brutality so much that's noteworthy, it's that in this instance, we don't see any, alien invaders in a supervisory capacity. Colony's oppressors are very hands-off. They're relying entirely on locally hired police forces and the occasional drone strike. And all of this is directed by a global authority based in Davos. V shows us an image of world governments that are essentially well-meaning but naive. Flying saucers come up, fairly normal-looking guy gets out, proclaims friendship, says he's going to help us out, cure cancer and all that, and they kind of like this idea. It sounds legit, and it offers quick technological fixes to problems that they haven't been able to solve, so they just kind of go along with it.
These visitors assure me they have come in peace.
They're dupes more than collaborators, and they don't really figure it out in most cases until they've been completely pushed aside. Colony portrays world leaders quite a bit differently. This is showing us people who are collaborators right from the start. They didn't even have to be coerced into it. They're like self-serving husks, ruthless but cowardly. These kind of people that are willing to lead humanity into extinction if it allows them to live comfortably for just a few more years until the very end. And they try very hard to rationalize that they're the good people and that somehow what's happening to everybody around them isn't going to apply to them. V presents us with a very black and white sort of good versus evil, plucky resistance fighters against reptiloid space Nazis, whereas Colony forces us into the gray because the invaders aren't doing a whole lot on their own. The real atrocities are being committed by our own people. I guess the way I would say it is that V shows us an image of who we wish we were, while Colony shows us who we really are. We could have a long talk about some of the other aspects of this show, like establishment of state religions as a mechanism of social control, indoctrination of youth, the morality of targeting collaborators. For now, I'm going to leave with just one final point. No one has ever obeyed their way out of slavery. We always have to be questioning why we're complying with orders, laws, whatever. Now, I'm not saying just as a reflex don't, because sometimes it makes a lot of sense, but sometimes it doesn't, and we need to be aware of why we are obeying, because ultimately it's our responsibility. And if we continually cede authority and autonomy to others, then eventually there comes a time when you've given up all your liberty, all your autonomy to somebody else, and you might find out that evil people have power over you. And when that day comes...
Wrong way.
I made a mistake.
Back up.
I shouldn't be here.
it's too late to turn it back.